Well, just on the
Focus.
other note, I mean, he did come out and talk a little bit more about how super, because going off of what he had said about,
Mm.
how he feels about how his character in The Witcher was treated. You made a point about similarly, Superman has not really been treated that great on screen, and he elaborated a little bit more on what he meant on the Instagram post. And he says his goal for Superman is to make fans feel like they can fly and protect others. That's his goal. So yeah, it kind of goes along with what we've been hearing. We're going to get a more traditional Superman, basically. Uh, so
So what's the actual quote? What did he say?
let's see here. The actor said inspiring fans is the most important factor behind his long awaited Superman return. There's so much in the way of conversations to be had. Obviously, I have a very close connection to the character. There's so many extraordinary special. And when asked about coming back, he said there's something extraordinarily special about him, extraordinarily special about his capacity to love and to give and to love. I don't mean romantically. I mean his love for Earth and for people who live here, and to make people feel powerful, to make people feel like Superman themselves. I have plenty of desires for this, of course, which will be discussed more in time, but the most important thing, which I will be aiming for, is for the audience to leave the cinema and feel like they can fly, to feel like they can protect, and feel like they want to give everyone else, they want to give to everyone else. Sorry. That would be my goal. So
You
there you
know,
go. There's a full quote.
does sound like he's got an air of creative control over this, which is what he
Oh
was
yeah, I know.
vying for
Yeah,
before, doesn't it? Because you remember before it was he won't come back until he has some story say.
yep.
He was making demands for story say because he wasn't happy with where the character was going. This pretty much says that. Like reading between the lines, it's not really reading between the lines. I mean, he's literally saying, "Yeah, I've got ideas where this is going to go. We're going to talk about that later." Tom, what do you think?
Sorry, I thought I was unmuted. Yeah, no, I feel like this is pretty much what we've been. At least I think you've been hearing too, and what I've been hearing is that
Yeah,
we're gonna get a more traditional Superman. And yes, that he wanted more control. He wasn't going to sign on until they had a plan. We've been hearing about a 10-year plan. 4 picture deal is what we heard. Sounds about right. That'll take him out through about 10 years. And yeah, I mean, that leaves him open to do Highlander, or if that falls through, he can still do something else besides that, because I think he's got a couple other things he's still
he's
working
got
on
a Guy
otherwise.
Ritchie
But
film coming up now where he's going to be
yeah,
playing a spy with Isa Gonzalez.
and then he got, doesn't that Enola Holmes show and some other stuff
Hmm.
too. So yeah,
He's got a
and
fair
I'm
amount
sure they'll
actually in
get.
the works.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not like he's not going to be busy, but no, I think that he wants to have control over this. I have a feeling we're not going to see Zack Snyder anywhere near this movie, even though Zack
Hmm.
tried to tease some bullshit out on Twitter.
Oh,
I
don't say
gave
this.
him some
You're
shit
gonna
the
annoy
other night.
people now, Tom.
I
You're gonna
know,
annoy
but I
people.
told him to knock it off. It's his fault. He's giving everybody false hope. I mean, there is nothing in anything I've ever heard to lead me to believe that Zack Snyder is coming back in any fucking capacity. And not
Yeah, I
only
haven't
that, I've been
heard that.
told in no uncertain terms that they keep calling it the Snyder trilogy for a reason, and
Hmm.
that Justice League is the theatrical cut anyway, is the
Hmm.
canon, no matter what going forward. So if you, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. It's just that's what it is. And I know that might even springboard into your next story about Joss Whedon, but yeah, that's
Hmm.
the fact of the matter. As far as Warner Brothers is concerned, that's the canon.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but I
think
think like
Snyder's just trying to rustle up the whole Snyderverse crew,
Yep.
and fans out there and get them all riled up and
yeah.
try to get Warner Brothers to, or try to get them to force Warner Brothers' hand to kind of let him be a part of it again moving forward. And I don't see it happening, just like what Tom said.
Yeah, I can't see. So I don't want to get too into the sort of Zack Snyder business because it detracts from the main point that we're sort of talking about there. But I can't see him coming back, and I can't see David Zaslav thinking that's a profitable move either, quite frankly, because it hasn't
No.
proven to be profitable. But to go back to Henry Cavill's comments on,
Yeah.
a joyful, inspiring Superman, I love the sound of that. I think that's great, and I think that that's what when you think about Superman, that's what you think about. You think about being inspired. You think about you think about what that character embodies and represents, and that sort of inspiration, joyfulness, being a beacon of hope. you know, that's kind of what you want, right? And how he's framing it, you know, I want people to leave the cinema feeling like they can fly. It's what you used to think when you left the cinema having watched one of these things.
Well, that
I
was
you
the
know, I
tagline.
want to go and fly, right? Like I feel like a child again, and that's beautiful. That's really nice. It's sort of tapping into that inner child that people have who love this character.
Well, I think it's interesting he chose that line specifically because that was the tagline for the 78 Superman movie. You'll believe a man can fly, right?
That's true. Yeah.
And a lot of the things he said here are things like Jor-El said to Superman in the movie and stuff like that. And clearly, Cavill, the age he is, he would have been a little kid or pretty, you know, a kid with Christopher Reeve's Superman. So I'm sure that's what he's aspiring to be, is what Superman made him feel as a kid. And that's what Superman needs to be. And Donner got it right because he said it flat out. You don't change what Superman is. He's Americana. He's apple pie. You don't mess with that.
Yeah.
You can change the world around him a little bit. You can modernize the world around him. But Superman himself doesn't change. He's always the big blue Boy Scout, right? So that's just what he is. Truth, justice, and American way. That's Superman, period.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like his comments. I've consistently liked every single comment he has come out with respect to the Superman. And I do think, going back to the creative control aspect, I think this is one of those people. So we always talk about, and me and you, Tom, and Andre have spoken about this with respect to Picard, for instance. You know, we talk about Patrick Stewart and Picard having creative control, and that being a bad thing because he's just an actor. This is one of those. This is one of those lines which blur here on this particular actor, because this is someone that does have a love for the lore. This is someone that does have a love for the character, not the character he's creating, but the character as established canon. And I think that's important. You know, him having creative control is a very good thing. Patrick Stewart having creative control over Picard, bad thing, and we've seen it. So I think that's important to sort of separate the two. I think that's really, really good. I personally would say him having creative control, great idea. Very much happy to see what he would come up with and what sort of tweaks he is allowed to give or ideas he has to input into the character. I don't think that's anything. I don't think that's bad at all. But I don't know what you guys think about that, having Henry Cavill, an actor, having creative control or a certain amount of creative input on Superman.
I mean, can we just talk about the nerve of this guy? I mean, let me just read from Cavill. This guy Cavill. I mean, who is he? Who is this?
Well, I heard from Grace Randolph he doesn't even have the job.
Who is
yet,
this
Paul.
adult pretender? Him saying the most important things that he's aiming for is for the audience to leave the cinema feeling good.
I know.
Get this guy out
Unreal.
of here.
He's not singing from
Thanks,
the
Tom.
studio
Working my
restaurant.
comedy bit, man.
No. I was just adding to your point that Grace Randolph says he doesn't even have the job, Paulie.
I know. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, you're right. Like, this is someone that is very much for the
Nick
fans,
was going to say
really.
something too. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, in most cases, you know, having the actor have some bit of creative control is probably not a good idea at all. But I would say in this case, it's fine just because he's such a fan of the actual established character, like you were saying, Nate, a minute ago.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, a lot of fans weren't happy with the portrayal of Superman. He wasn't happy with the portrayal of Superman, and he basically wasn't going to come back unless they got somebody else involved and he could at least get some approval and get his thoughts and ideas worked in with them moving forward.
Yeah.
So I'm all for him having some bit of green lighting or creative control or being able to add to what they're doing.
Yeah, just to add to that, Nick, it probably was in his deal that he's some sort of exec, and you know he's gonna have some say in the script. I don't think that's a problem as long as it's part of a good creative group moving forward.
Too bad we can't see those deals in writing.
Nah,
you know what's all written in them.